Hi, in this video I want to discuss some potential buffs and nerfs to system mechanics and introduce ideas of new system mechanics to help balance the game. The balance of the game is not perfect, but I love the direction they're taking with this game. You know, ranging from the new special moves that they're adding to help out characters in weak parts of their game plan, or improving parts of their game plan that they're already good at, or expanding their game plan to include new things. I mean, they just added two new system mechanics, being Wild Assault and Deflect Shield, which both use burst and expands the resource management of the game because, you know, there's a whole nother bar to manage. I mean, not that Guilty Gear needs more bars to manage, but it is nice. Also, they talked about adding a new 3v3 mode and how it can be single player but also multiplayer. That was in a video they had recently. It was like an interview. I believe that's what it was, and it's along the lines of 3 people versus 3 people, each playing their own character, or in single player mode it's 1 person with 3 characters versus another person with 3 characters, I believe. And it's really cool that they're expanding into multiplayer, because I don't know of any other fighting games besides 2XKO that are like delving into the multiplayer aspect of fighting games, which is nice because that's one of the big downsides to fighting games, that you're fighting against your friends and not with them. I believe they said that they were also going to add instant kills into the game, which is cool. You know, they're flashy, cool moves, but they also have a use in some games, kind of. It just depends. Like, for example, in BlazBlue, you can combo into their Astral Finish, is what it's called, when they're low, and, you know, it just kills them. And it's nice because you don't have to worry about finishing your combo or, like, messing up because you just kill them. And it can only happen when they're low, so I think it's like 20% or 30% or something. Or they could do something like what they did with Exerd, where you activate the mode and then you're in the mode and then you can do it, but then if you do it and they don't and you like whiff it, then you lose all your meter and then you can't gain meter for the rest of the game, which is confusing and kind of weird, and they'd probably simplify it probably to like the Astral Finishes in BlazBlue, but you know, they can do whatever they want. Anyways, rant aside, I do appreciate the team and the direction that they're taking the game. I want to bring up some ideas though to help balance the game and or spice it up. Mainly like new mechanics around the wall break, because I think wall break is a cool mechanic. It's very, it is a unique mechanic. You know, not many fighting games have it, if any at all. I don't really know, but you know, at the moment all we have is just break the wall, or you can break it and get hard knockdown. I mean, one is objectively better than the other, and it's not like super interesting based on, I mean, like if you're gonna break the wall you always kind of do that, but you know, it'd be cool if there were other options, right? Alright, so I want to talk about how I don't think there's enough options for wall break. What I mean by that is there's only 2, which is breaking the wall or breaking the wall with hard knockdown. So if you wanted to break the wall, you would just do, you know, simple little combo. Oh, lost the sword there. Hold on, give me one moment. Ah, sure, whatever. And then you get wall break, and then that gives you positive bonus. Unfortunately, you return to neutral. Now, there's a way around this, which is breaking the wall with super or wild assault, and now you get hard knockdown. And positive bonus, of course. So now you get to go up, you know, do a little run up meaty, you know, continue the pressure. Pretty good stuff. I mean, you have to spend 50 meter to do that. Well, extra 50, but yeah. So if you wanted to, so there is a caveat, which is if you want to go run up meaty, you now have to play a little guessing game, or, you know, are they going to wake up reversal, yada yada. Well, some characters don't have to deal with this. Ramethal has a safe jump, so you can just, you know, safe jump it up. And what a safe jump is, as you saw there, the aerial move whiffs if they super in your little block, and if they don't do anything, then, or if they just block, then they have they end up blocking it. So it's timed perfectly so that you can block the reversal, or if they just block, then they have to block it. And also it's meaty, so they cannot 6B that. So that's what Ramethal has. Now, Milia, the wall break idea is not fair to every character. So, for example, as I said, Ramethal gets a safe jump. Milia gets literally nothing as far as safe jumps go. You could probably 6B that. Only thing Milia gets is, I mean, this is only because she's so fast. There's other characters out there like the Temkin that are too slow to get like basically meaty anything except like, you see there's a meaty there, except like meaty Kara Garuda Impact, but even then you can backdash that, and so Potemkin gets like nothing. So my idea for the mechanic would be that, so when they are wall splatted, you get hard knockdown and it resets the wall health. So what do I mean by this? So for example, you do a quick little switch to this. Right. You do a quick little combo. Right, you would use the mechanic. It's not Wild Assault, but you would use it like when they're wall splatted, just like that. And then you would get, they would fall down to the ground like that. You'd get like hard knockdown, and then also the wall health would reset. I think, you know, that this would help out characters such as Milia and Potemkin, because now they can oh, sorry to preface. The mechanic would cost 50 something. 50 burst, 50 tension, doesn't matter. But it would cost 50 something because then it would be a little imbalanced. And it would cost, yeah, so it would cost 50, whatever, probably 50 tension to be honest. But it would give you hard knockdown and it would reset the wall health. If you don't know what the wall health is, essentially when you hit the opponent, you get damage to them, but also the wall health goes down. Like, it doesn't matter if the combo drops, the wall health keeps going down. If you don't attack them, the wall health goes back up. So there's no way to actually reset the wall health or bring it down, aside from just not hitting them and waiting. So you could do something like, you know, it doesn't have to be one combo, and then the wall health will go like this. Now, if they get off that wall, it's going to take a few more hits, right? Your combos become a lot shorter now that the wall health is really low. So I'm thinking is, you know, you do this, and then you can use the mechanic, and then it'll do that. It's like wall slump, sort of. Like, you can get like a mix-up after, and then, but the wall's health will reset, meaning like this. Now you can do like a big old combo or something. That's not a combo, but you get the idea. Alright, so also one more quick thing about the mechanic that was supposed to like give hard knockdown after wall splat, like hard knockdown without breaking the wall. I mean, the hard knockdown, I don't know if I ever mentioned this too much, but you know, of course, hard knockdown being hard knockdown, you can run some crazy mix-ups. So essentially, the idea is, do you want to break the wall? And well, for some characters that have a good, that have a safe jump after, well, hard knockdown, wall break. You know, would they want to choose between doing that hard knockdown, wall break, and then safe jumping, getting positive, and then running their pressure, or would they rather take the hard knockdown and then take the hard knockdown without breaking the wall, resetting the wall's health, and then they get to run a mix-up, and then after the mix-up, if the opponent guessed correctly, they can still run their offense. And then for characters like Milia, I mean, basically every time she's taking the mix-up. But like characters like Bridget, especially, would choose probably, it would be like a hard choice, because, you know, Bridget has some pretty good mix-ups, but then also she has a safe jump after hard knockdown, so after the wall break, hard knockdown, then she'd be able to, you know, run her pressure, get some positive. But like characters like Sin, I don't think he has a safe jump. He might, but if we're just going to pretend that he does anyways, or someone like Soul, they're not really gonna want to take the mix up because their mix isn't like super crazy after hard knockdown. Anyways, with that out of the way, I want to talk about the fact that there's kind of a lack of combo interaction without burst. What I mean by this is, if you burst and you're getting comboed, there is nothing for you to do. Plain and simple. Unless they drop the combo, you know, you're just holding down back and praying to God they don't drop the combo and go for like an overhead for some reason. Some real messed up crap. But anyways, I think it'd be cool if we could incentivize combo resetting. What I mean is like this. So you do a combo, and you drop them, and then you go for a reset like that. Of course, Melia is really good at that because she has hard knockdown, but like characters like Sin, you do something like, I don't know, this, and then you go like, oh, meaty. So, just depends on the character. Like, some characters would definitely be better at it. But the idea, incentivize these combo resets. I think the combo resets would be pretty cool because you're sitting there, right? Maybe you got 50 burst, or you're Sin, and you have a DP, and you're just sitting there, and you're just waiting for them to go for a reset. And then as soon as they go for a reset, you're like, oh, I'm ready to DP after wake up, right? So there's that little minigame there. And maybe they catch you lacking, and they go for a reset, and you weren't like, ready for it. And then, I mean, this one's a pretty long reset, but there's some better examples. Maybe like this or something, and then you're like, oh, with the meaty, but you know, maybe they go for like a quick reset and you're just not expecting it. Now, why would you ever want to go for a reset? At this point in the game, there really isn't much of a point unless you're like playing a mix-up character, because you're just giving up damage for a higher potential damage, but the higher potential damage is not that much higher, so you'd rather, like for most characters, just, you know, break the wall, yada yada. So yeah. So I think a good way to incentivize this combo interaction, a good way to incentivize combo resetting would be a mechanic that lets you combo after Wall-splat, which I know sounds absolutely absurd. You know, nobody wants to get like one shot by Sin Beast, and then he just does that. You know, he runs the mechanic, he combos you, and then boom, it's over, you're dead. But the idea of the mechanic is going to be, or the idea of the mechanic would be something like this, where you get the wall break, and then you like use the mechanic. I'm using charge dust in place of that. You'd use it, and it would do this, like this exact animation, where you like do a charge dust like combo. And I think it's cool to use this animation because, I mean, in high-level gameplay, not many people get hit by tap dusts, and if they do, it's extremely rare. And I think it'd be cool to see that more often, because it never really happens, and it's just a cool little animation. Look at all the stuff in the vacuum going on. It's just cool, you know? And I think it could be utilized somewhere else. And this mechanic would be like Wild Assault in the sense that they're on the wall, and you go like, bang, but instead of breaking the wall, this would happen. And then you do your little combo, and then guess what happens after that? You get to get positive bonus. But there's going to be a difference between Charge Dust here and the mechanic. After you slap them down, what I'd rather have happen is that they get up immediately and you reset to neutral. And what I mean by like get up immediately, like I'm talking about like when you break the wall with just like a move, right? And then this happens. Like they immediately get up and you just reset to neutral. Because after the Charge Dust, you get like a hard knockdown, kind of. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but regardless, it's a knockdown of some type, which I don't think it needs. And the idea of this is, so you might be wondering, you know, how does this tie back to combo resets, like, at all? So the idea is it's going to be super heavily dependent off the spacing. So if you do a combo that does like 4 hits or something, and you do the mechanic or whatever, and this mechanic is only going to work if they're on the wall, so you can't just like use it, because then that would be just like an instant tap dust whenever you want. You'd have to be on the wall, that to be Wall-splat on the wall in order for it to work, and it would do this, and the idea is that the combo has to only have like a few hits in it for it to do like any sort of meaningful damage. Like for example, if you do like a combo like this, There's like a bunch of hits in it, right? The idea is once you use the mechanic, it's going to do less damage than if you just did a super, like after. But if you do like a 4-hit combo and then it wall splats and then you use the mechanic, it's going to do like quite a bit of damage. So the only way to get that is to do a combo reset. So something like this, and then you wait, and then I guess for some reason Sim didn't block. Well, it's because the bot isn't. And then it'd be like a 5-hit combo, and then you use the mechanic, and then boom, the animation happens, you do a little combo, and that's like quite a chunk of damage. And that would hopefully incentivize combo resetting. The only issue with this is that is quite a bit of damage. But, I mean, the thing about combo resetting is it adds more interaction because they drop. They like have to drop you. That gives you an opportunity reversal, and then they run a mix-up on you. I mean, Amelia especially is going to run a mix-up on you, and then if you block the mix-up, like, you have a chance to escape, whereas the opponent has a chance to do more damage. So they're essentially risking their damage they could have gotten from just finishing their combo for more potential damage, but the risk is that they could escape the corner, and potentially even start their own offense. So, like, they're, like, risking quite a bit. And then after risking that amount, the mechanic is going to cost resources, probably like 50. So that they would have to, so they're risking their combo damage to run a mix-up, and then after that they also have to spend resources. And, you know, I think if they do all those things, this mechanic should take away a little bit of burst, like just a little bit. And I think it should take enough away where, see, like if Sin had full burst here, and you did a single hit and then you did the finisher, they wouldn't be able to burst. But if they did like 2 hits, then you could have bursted the second one or something like that. So, like, if they have burst, or whoever is comboing them, if the person who's getting comboed has burst, then they can't escape if they just quickly like do like a really short combo, right? Because if you have burst, it'd be kind of lame if you just negated like all of the stuff they just did, you know, like they reset to get all that, to get like damage or whatever, or to get more damage, and then you just burst them. So the idea is that, like, you know, they can just cash out and get positive bonus, right? Because if you burst them, they're not going to get positive bonus, and even though the combo was pretty short and didn't really do a lot of damage, you know, they got their positive. But if they wanted to risk it, of course, there is burst baiting in like that animation there, so that'd be cool. There'd be like some cool like burst bait stuff. People probably find more burst bait stuff because it's not like pros really go up against, like, you know, pros are never really in this situation, and I imagine if it happened more often, it'd get labbed more. There'd be some cool stuff found out about it. So that'd be fun. So yeah, that'd be, I think, another cool mechanic that's based around wall breaking, and then also helps out with combo interaction a little bit. Alright, so after all these, you know, offensive mechanics and stuff, if they were to hypothetically add all these offensive mechanics, of course they would have to get some defensive mechanics on there. And we already have one that's pretty good, but it just needs a few tweaks. So, this move unfortunately requires a down-back input, which is not entirely bad, because at least you can do that while you're blocking, kind of. I mean, you have to release to go for the down. You can't do down, forward, to back like that. That doesn't work. But, you know, you have to release block for like a second, but that's fine. I mean, it's like in between hits or whatever, so you're not going to really get hit. But there is one issue, though, and it's that it has a direction to it. And the problem with that is, if we take Slayer here, I don't know if I'm actually going to get this to work, but yeah. So, because Wild Assault is the opposite, it's down forward, you end up, oh, I got 1,000, but you end up getting Wild Assault, and then you get counter hit. So you lose 50 burst, and then you get counter hit. And I feel like the idea of this was to just block out like a scary mix-up. So, like, you know, if you was to go for like a high-low here, then I'd be like, oh no, and then don't gotta deal with the high-low. But if they cross you up, you have to deal with that. And in fact, you get counter hit and you lose your burst. So good luck. I mean, at least you get your burst back after getting comboed, right? So, yeah. But what was I saying? Yeah. So I think what they would do, I mean, they've already mentioned that they were going to fix the input for this. I feel like they should just make it a neutral input. So, you know, how burst is a button in dust. Whatever button you want in dust. I think what they could do, there's a few routes you could go. Either they could do, specifically it's like punch in dust, and that gives you deflect shield, and then everything else is burst or something. Or it's like specifically like slash in dust, I don't know. Whatever you want. And then burst is like everything else. Or burst is like something specific. Or they could just do like 2 buttons like this, and they do 2 buttons in burst. And then this would give you deflect shield instead. So that's a neutral input, which means if they cross you up, you're still going to get deflect shield. It's not going to matter. Which would be nice. Then that move would be perfect for mix-ups, except for grabs. But it's good for mix-ups that you have to block. So that doesn't include grab. Now, I think the idea of deflect shield is that what you're supposed to do with it is either block the mix-up that you don't want to block, or that you want to block, sorry. Mix-up that you don't think you can block, and you're like, gosh, well, I want to block this real fast. But it's also a push block, meaning if you got Slayer to go like that or something, and then I deflect shield, right? And deflect shield, or like that. Oh, Zato. Okay. There we go. See? Get a punish. So that doesn't get anything, but if you had like red wild slot, you just be like boom, boom, and then you get a combo. So, like, oh, there you go. You did something. Look at that. A little bit of damage there. So, that's the idea. Like, if you know they're gonna do something, you can try to make them. You try to have them. Or sorry, if you know they're gonna do something, you block. You deflect shield the thing before that, so that whatever you think they're gonna do whiffs. Hopefully, that's what you're trying to. Like, you try to like make a move whiff, and then you can punish it. So that's what's really used for. And typically, the moves that you want to whiff are high-level moves, being like H's and like slashes, like slower moves, right? So I'm thinking of a mechanic that would be lower-level moves. So I know that they changed it so that if Slayer here went like this, oh, got a block. Like that. I mean, like, it still, like, kind of beats it. Like, you don't get a punish, but they're, like, you know, they're all the way out there. Like, who cares? Yeah, so I think it'd be cool to remove. I think what they had before, which was if the move had a lower attack level, it wouldn't push them as far. So, like, Slayer would get pushed to, like, here, rather than, like, all the way back here. So, like, if he did, like, 2P, he would go, like, here or something. But then if he does, like, 5H, he's, like, all the way back here. So I think it'd be cool if they reverted that, right? They nerfed Deflect Shield a little bit, but then they buffed the input. Now, I mean, if you're going to nerf Deflect Shield, and you're going to add a bunch of... I mean, it's not a nerf entirely. I think being able to block cross-up is a bigger buff than a nerf to push back. I mean, actually, that is a pretty decent nerf. But you could add another mechanic that takes care of that for you. Alright, so this mechanic, what it would do is it would parry like light attacks, and it would parry grabs. But the parry would be different. So let's change Biken to do the parry. Alright, actually already is, never mind. Get that block on real fast. Alright. So, like, if you what's a better dab? This? Yeah, okay. So, if you were to, like, do this, or if you were to do, like, a tick throw, does Abba? Oh, Abba does. I think most guys do. If you go, like, tick throw like this. So, sorry, real fast. The idea of this mechanic is to beat tick throws. And strike throw in general. It's supposed to be, like, pretty decent against that. Unless Soul, because Soul uses Far Slash. Which beats that specifically, but I'll go into that later. So, the idea is if you, like, do a move, and then they did the mechanic, they would do a parry, and if you grab, like this, you went for, like, the tick throw. So, instead of that happening, because this is Biken's parry, what would happen is this. So, you go for the grab, and then, what's going on? How about this? There we go. So, if you were to go for the grab, you would get parried like this, and you get chucked down, and then Biken can, like, run up and meet you, right? So that's what happens when you grab the parry. Now, this parry, of course, is going to cost 50-something, 50 burst, I'd imagine. Maybe 50 tension? I don't know. Because YRC is, like, kind of similar-ish, not really. I think 50 burst is probably good. Keep it like the counterpart to Deflect Shield. And what it would do is it parries the grabs, but then if they go for like a light like that, instead of that happening, what would happen is something like this. So they'd parry it. There would be no piercing involved, but they'd parry it. They would like smack, or you get smacked and you'd like tumble away like that, and it wouldn't do a lot of damage. Like, you know, I know, like Biken's parry does like a chunk of damage. It would do like 5 damage, or like none. It doesn't have to do any damage. It would just smack you and you would tumble away, or it would act like it would push you away. Either way, the idea is like if you do a light and the parry's out, you get like pushed away somehow, some way, with very low damage to none. And basically what this means is if they go for their strike throw, they're going to get parried, and if they do a light, they're going to get beaten out. Now, of course, this parry is going to be pretty long, because Biken's is like tiny, and it doesn't, like, you know, it doesn't really work like that. Like, it only works with, like, 2P gaps, like, gaps like that doesn't work. So the parry would be, like, as long as Anji's, which I know sounds like it really sucks, but it only parries low-level attacks, which means any other attack, or low level meaning like level 2 and under. So that means level 3 and higher attacks are going to counter hit it, like during all stages of it being active. So that means if I do like that and then the parry's out like Anji's and it's out forever, it's not like Anji's where it's like, oh, I have to wait like 10 seconds and then I get to close slash. You get to close slash immediately, because close slash is, I believe for all characters, level 3 or higher. So it would just beat that out. And another thing I'd like to add is that, so you're thinking, okay, well then Strike Throw is trash if you can't really do anything. Like, the only thing you can do is like freaking like close slash or something, which is kind of weird. Well, now what you could do is, what I would say, what I would say is you would do a command normal. So I know command normals, there's quite a few, actually I think a lot of them are low attack levels, but the idea of the parry is to specifically beat 5P, 2P, 5K, and 2K. So command normals would also counter hit this state that they're in. Not like that, of course, but you know, it looks something more like that or whatever. And 2Ds. And I think there are 2Ds that are like not very high level, but like, as I said, the idea is that it's only going to be like 5P, 2P, 5K, 2K. All other moves are going to counter hit it, and special moves, if they ever do that move. So this is specifically for Strike Throw and Tick Throws. Now, you know, if you're going to bait this out, you have to be right in their face and do nothing. Like, as the person whose offense it is, which is kind of sucks, right, to bait it out. So you could just do like 2K and then 2D, or you could do 2K, 6P, or any other command normal or whatever, and then you'd beat them out. So having an automatic 2K, 2D gap, like 1 frame, is like super crazy, because that beats literally everything that they can do, and still allows for some pretty decent straight throw. Except for like backdash probably, but backdash loses to like two of those. Anyway, so that'd be the idea of that mechanic, and you know, I think that would hopefully mix up the game a little bit. You know, we got Deflect Shield. The whole idea of Deflect Shield is just to beat mix-ups, like blocking mix-ups, and like predict something and then punish it. The idea of this thing is literally just to beat lights and to beat throw. And this one, as I said, they would have to like change it so it only beats like heavier moves, and like 2P doesn't like make you get pushed back as far when you use Deflect Shield, to balance it out, hopefully. Because I think if Deflect Shield still did what it did, maybe defense might be too good. I'm not sure, though. Alright, so there's one issue I'd like to go over in this game right now. It's kind of an issue, but it's probably more tied to a Wild Assault type thing. But it's the fact that you gain burst on hit, which doesn't sound like a problem. Actually, that sounds like good, right? Because the idea of burst is to help you escape the corner. I mean, not really with this season, because Wild Assault. But Deflect Shield helps with that, and of course, burst itself. So the problem is that, you know, people, they get beaten up, right, and then they got all this burst, and then they make a comeback with Wild Assault. And some characters are bigger abusers of this than others. For example, Potemkin, he has more health. so he gets more burst, because you gain burst based on how much damage you take. And because Potemkin has more health, he can take more damage, which means that he can get more burst every round. Versus Chip, who will always get less burst. Which, honestly, I don't think is a big deal, because, you know, big bodies kind of need that. But there is an issue, and that is White Wall Assault. And because White Wall Assault is so good, and big bodies abuse the heck out of burst and get a bunch of burst, they're able to Wild Assault more than everyone else. And they also happen to have arguably the best one. So, they get to abuse the best one the most. I mean, not like other characters have them. But yeah. And I think there's a few ways to go about this. Actually, there's only really one way, or two. There's one, the best way, and the way they definitely should do it, and I think they're definitely going to do it. They have mentioned that they want to fix it. It's just nerfing White Wall Assault. Now, I kind of have a hot take, and I kind of feel like Wall Assault shouldn't give hard knockdown because it does other things. And I think it makes the game really snowbally. But I also don't mind it if they were to balance Wall Assault more. And then maybe, you know, they've been changing positive bonus up and stuff to try to make the game less snowbally, which is good. I like the direction they're taking. So yeah. Now, if they do something a little more radical, which I think is just a fun idea, you know, just kind of talking about, just bringing it up. And the idea would be you get burst based on percentage. So, for example, if I did a little combo on Potemkin, I don't know chip combos. Oh, here's one. Yeah, do something like that, and you smack them, right? And that does like 113 damage. Or more importantly, it does like I don't know how to calculate percents, like from looking at them, but 20% probably. That's like 20% or something. But if you did that same combo on Chip, that would do 30%, which is where the issue lies. So everyone's gonna have the same amount of burst every round because everyone has 100% health, right? It's a percent. So if Chip were to die, if he were to lose the round, he would get the same amount of burst as Potemkin if he were to lose the round. Like if they would both go to 0, or to, I guess if they both go to 1% health, they'd both gain the same amount of burst. The issue is that Chip takes more damage than Potemkin, and if, you know, maybe they take the same amount of damage. I mean, of course, guts, so let's just assume they're the same guts for now, because it makes things easier. If they both take the same amount of damage from a combo, Chip loses more percent because he has less health. And then, of course, Chip also has less guts than Potemkin, meaning that he also takes more damage. So he takes more damage and has less health, which means he loses even more percent. Which means if you combo Chip, he's going to get so much burst so fast. So that would then make lightweight characters more abusers of bursts because even though they get the same amount, they just get it faster. And of course, they can't be hit as much, but I mean, it'd still be kind of crazy if you were just like comboing someone and then they had like no burst, and at the end of the combo, they just had all their burst back. So yeah, that's the issue with that. I think it would be interesting, but they probably shouldn't do that. I think it's fine the way it is. It makes more sense that heavyweights get more burst anyways because they're bigger body characters. It's just White Wall Assault is more of the problem than gaining the burst itself. Alright, so thank you for watching. I appreciate you listening to me yap about random stuff that I think would be cool in the game. You know, nothing that is coming to the game, of course. I mean, maybe, hopefully, you know, maybe Arxis will cook a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, you know, you can always ask them down in the comments. You know, I don't really want to like farm comments or anything, but if you have any questions or like anything you really want to say at all, you know, like any opinions about what I said, you know, or if you have like your own ideas, I'd be pleased to hear them down in the comments below. And if you didn't understand something, or I didn't explain something well, if you missed something, well, I'm gonna just rewatch the video, but you don't have to, because I'm gonna leave a Google Doc in the description, or Google, I mean something like Google Doc, I don't know, probably something like that, and it will have like the mechanics I talked about. It'll also have current mechanics that are relevant. It'll have like the pros and cons, like the pros and cons I believe exist. Like, I don't know, it's like my opinion, kind of. But it'll have the pros and cons, the purpose of, like, what I believe the purpose of the move is, and then, of course, counterplay, if it exists. So, yeah. And, of course, a lot of things I brought up, like, for example, Wall Assault is a dual mechanic. Like, for example, for Blue One, it gives you a bunch of plus frames, but it also gives you hard knockdown, and then you also have something like Deflect Shield, which blocks mix-ups, but also you can use as a punish tool. And then there's also Super, which can give you hard knockdown, or which does give you hard knockdown, and then also can be used as reversal with some characters, or it does something else, like replenishing at a gauge. Damn, that hits! Oh my god. That's wild. So yeah. The mechanics I brought up didn't really, I didn't add a dual mechanic to, like, a lot of them. Like, I don't know, they could always exist, it's just whatever needs to be added to the game to make it feel better, you know? So, yeah. But, yeah, so you can read that, understand what it, maybe you want to understand what I said better, as I said, or just didn't understand something, I explained something poorly, something like that. You know, all the information is going to be there, or the relevant information. And then, yeah, so advice on my ideas would also be cool, as I was saying before. And yeah, thank you for watching, and, oh wait, not yet though, because I did want to mention that I will be making Zato Tech videos at some point if I stop procrastinating enough. My schedule this summer is a little busy, so I'm not really going to get around to it, probably, maybe like in the next few days I might post one, but yeah. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys sometime, at some point.